Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Fitness Friday. And I, again, am so excited to have a chat about fitness and bettering our lives. And I, again, have one of my favorite friends, Coach Idris, who's going to join me and have a conversation about our metabolisms. And if you guys are watching and you have any questions, please feel free to comment on our video so that we can answer any questions that you might have. But let me bring on Coach Idris's introduction, and then we'll get started. Coach Idris is a National Academy of Sports Medicine certified personal trainer with 25 years experience. Idris specializes in women's fitness through NASM. He is a nutritional counselor, certified EMT, and LVN. He has worked helping hundreds of clients, from high school to professional athletes and housewives to CEOs of companies, to achieve their weight loss and fitness goals. He is the former 2002 Mr. USA bodybuilding champion with 20 years of competition history, an Air Force military veteran where he served in Desert Storm as a combat medic. Hello!
What's up?
How are you doing?
I'm good. It's Friday. Gonna go see my son, go hang out, do some lunch with him to be nice.
Awesome. How long has it been since you've seen him?
When I see him last, we went maybe last month, because he moved out here. He moved to LA right before I moved out here.
Oh wow.
And then he followed me out here, but his girlfriend moved out here to work for her parents, so it worked out really good. He's like, I'm coming to Fort Worth. I'm like, shut up.
Nice.
Because I wasn't around him for 10 years because he was in the Air Force for 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in Baltimore and then Germany. So
wow.
Nice. Yeah, he was an Arabic linguist, did counterterrorism at NSA.
That's crazy.
So he was gone for a while. Yeah. So
That's
it's cool.
awesome.
Yeah. And they still go back to LA. He sings, he teaches a voice. He writes, he's a songwriter, country and R&B and rock. And so he has the clients up there. And his girlfriend's a professional dancer. So they both go back once a week and they do their clients and then they come back. So they got a little thing going.
That's awesome. That's really cool. I didn't know that about him. I didn't know that he was teaching. That's pretty awesome.
He's pretty sick. Yeah.
He's an amazing singer. I mean, just the stuff that you showed me. He's awesome.
He's pretty talented. It's funny to watch him, just watch it how it all happened. And he's self-taught, and he's self-taught too, which is a trip.
That's crazy. That's super cool.
That's really cool, yeah.
Well, lately I've been getting a lot of questions about metabolism, and I thought maybe we can kind of go through how our metabolism works and if there's a way to help to boost our metabolism and kind of in that direction. So you're the master. I'm not really sure what to even say about that.
They're asking me and I have no idea.
Yep.
Yeah, metabolism's funny, because a lot of people, like when they want to be younger, like when I was younger, I could do this and I can do that. That's like everyone's, when I was younger. And that's because when you're younger, your body's still developing and still growing. And as long as you're not overeating, you're going to burn those calories. Most kids that you see that are overweight, especially the ones that are severely, it's what they're eating. And also has a lot to do with kids don't run like we used to. They don't play like we used to. Their families, they're always, they say they're concerned about, well, outside is not as safe. Like really, like when's there ever been really safe outside? Right?
I've had that conversation with so many people. I actually did a podcast earlier on and I talked about that and how sometimes I think we restrict our kids from actually having a normal life because we're like, oh, you can't go out and do this because I'm too afraid that this might happen, right?
Yeah, they act like serial killers just started last month, right?
Right. I think we're just more aware with all of social media, right?
What it is because of social media, you hear of every one of them, where before you only heard about the ones in your area. Yeah. Now you hear about stuff on the other side of the world. Yeah. So everybody's, so I'm like, what do you think? There was the son of Sam, David Berkowitz was killing people in 1976, 77. Okay. That's when I was 12. Yeah. So, and we went everywhere. Like we were on our bikes, gone. We couldn't even come in the house Get out the
Yep.
house. Don't even come back in the house.
Yeah, I would leave early in the morning. My mom wouldn't see me until it got dark, and I knew I had to be home before it got
Yeah,
dark,
just be
or I
home before I had to be home by dark, you know, and they just don't do that. You know, they don't let their kids, you know, and they don't induce it. And I tell them, well, if you're so concerned about it, why don't you go out and play with them? That's out the
yeah,
question. That's completely out the question. Oh, me go out? No, no, I ain't doing that. So, you know, and you know, so they just you know, they sit in front of a TV or a phone and that's it. So
yeah,
that's really the problem. And a lot of parents don't think about their kids. They want to. It's almost like they just want them. I want them to be happy. Well, they'd be really happy if you don't put them in a bad situation too, where now they're 22, 23, and they have all of this weight to lose, but no habits to lean on. No, you know, you got to have habits. You know, you got to have good habits. So I think just it's a combination of that. But once you're an adult and you're dealing with metabolism, as you get older, you lose muscle mass. You know, this is one of the things that, like, you know, my girlfriend now, she's always like, you can just lose weight or put it on whenever you want to. And I'm like, well, I've been doing this since I was 20. I've been almost doing this for 40 years. I think I earned it. Like, what are you
yeah.
talking
Just a little bit.
about? Yeah, like, well, you're so lucky. No, not lucky. 40 years, not lucky. That's not luck.
Yeah,
Um, and so people that you see who are older that still manage to keep their weight in check, and it's because it takes effort, man. It really takes effort. And when you lose your metabolism slows down because your hormones change.
yeah,
When you're growing up as a child, like my granddaughter, right? She's dancing and walking and bouncing. She ain't working out at the gym to get stronger. It's just you get stronger as a child develops. They get taller. They're not doing anything special. They're not going to the gym. So how are they getting stronger? How are they getting leaner? How are they leaning out? That's just a normal growth process.
yeah,
Once that growth process stops, you have to be on top of what you're doing. You have to, from that point on, is when your metabolism starts to go the other way because you're not growing anymore.
yeah,
And most people don't do anything. They just kind of let life happen. And the next thing you know, they get into their 30s, and it's for women, it starts slowing down in their 30s, and in their 40s, it really hits home. You know, so everybody, you know, acts like it's the number, and if that's partially true, but it's
yeah,
more your history that has to do with it than just the number. So when you're in shape all the time, you keep it when you lift weights and you keep muscle on you. Don't you notice like when I trained you and started increasing your intensity, you got hungrier?
hmm,
Okay. That's your metabolism speeding up. So that's one way to speed up your metabolism is by exercise. Because and you know, they have things with fat, you know, foods that speed your metabolism up. I don't know if these foods actually speed your metabolism up or they don't slow your metabolism down.
oh, okay,
You know, they're low glycemic. It doesn't require a lot of insulin to break the sugars down. It's
uh-huh,
more that, like, okay, if I eat this fruit or this carb as opposed to that one, or if I don't eat starches at all, more or less insulin has to be secreted to break that down. And that's where weight gain comes from. It
yeah,
comes from the secretion of insulin. That's where diabetes 2 comes from. That's where the thickness of your skin comes from. All of that has to do with sugars and metabolism and insulin. So that's, you know, that whole potpourri of hormones and thyroid and, you know, it's a whole lot of hormonal stuff going on. And as we get older, as women know, hormones start, you know, disagreeing with you. Testosterone level starts to dip. Weight gain starts to happen for both men and women. Women see it more because women have less testosterone,
mm-hmm.
you know, generally speaking. So you see it quick. That's why men lose weight a little faster.
Mm-hmm.
Women go, you know, if I do the same diet, he loses. Yeah, because we're not holding as much body fat. Okay.
Yeah,
The less
yeah,
body fat you hold, the less you have to lose. So,
mm-hmm.
and we have more muscle and bigger lungs, bigger heart, bigger, you know, our organs are bigger. Everything is bigger, which also helps out when you start exercising.
So when you're, say, like you've been kind of moderately into exercise and nutrition throughout the years, and then like you're over 40 now, and you like, what are some steps, what are some things that you would recommend people to start doing or to start being mindful of in if they are over 40, if they're a woman over 40, what would you recommend like the start of something like that would be?
Well, it depends on what the goal is.
How about weight loss, for example, or maybe
okay, so you're a woman over 40 needing to lose weight. You're a woman over 40 needing to stay in shape. Like, because like a lot of people, I mean, everything is different all depending. It's really hard because everything is different all depending on who I'm talking to at 40.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
I'm talking to somebody at 40 that's always worked out their whole lives, and now they're just slowly starting to put weight on. It's a different conversation than somebody who's never worked out.
Yeah. I would say let's talk about that. I mean, I think most of those who have been asking me about it are ones that I've seen stay pretty good with their workouts throughout the years, and they're just trying to it seemed that their metabolism is slowed down and they can't really get the weight to come off. So yeah, let's go in that direction.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, one of my ex-girlfriends, she hit me up not too long ago and she was like, "What's going on?" She's always worked out. And she was like, "What's going on?" You know, and she's about to be 50 and she's like put on a pound or two. And this happens a lot. You know, this could happen to you, okay, because of where you are. Just all of a sudden, you're doing the same thing, but now every year there's another pound or two, there's another half a pound, there's every year. And I always tell people, they go, "I'm not doing anything different." And I'm like, "No, you're not, but you're different." You're different. You are not the same person you were when you were 30. So your body's not doing what it did when it was 35. It's not doing it anymore.
Yeah.
And you're not keeping up with it. You know, you can either lower your calories, or you can, if you're a person who works out, you can change your workouts to a more cardiovascular, aerobic, anaerobic / combo workout, which I do mostly with women. Women do much better with, it's called proprioceptive workouts, which are varied different things, not just strength training, but strength training, volume training, yoga, like a combination of things. Women do much, much better like that. So what I do with women is that's what I do. Like, they never know what workout's next. Like, I don't ever repeat a workout, ever. It's always changing. So your body has to adapt and has to, now I'm doing chest with tired arms. Now I'm doing legs with the tired, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, that's what I've loved about when I was working out with you, is even each set was different. And so I've incorporated that into all my workouts. So even like if I'm doing a bicep curl, I'm doing with each set that I'm doing, I'm doing
inside the set, you're changing it up, adding some pulses, adding some strength. Yeah. And that just works best. But for those people, and if you are actually into fitness and lifting weights, I'm sorry, ladies, you got to lift weights. Like, all of this, I don't like it. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? We're adults. We're not supposed to do everything we like, right? As an adult, you're supposed to do what you're supposed to do. When you're raising your child, you can't tell your kid, "Look, only do what you like." I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
It's been crazy though, you guys. Like, I have to say, here's one of the misconceptions I think that women have. I always hear this. This is a huge thing that women always say. They say, "I don't want to lift weights because I don't want to be like so crazy muscular. I don't want to look like a man," right? And I get that, because those are things that I would talk about, right? But it's crazy. I've been doing a lot of, like, I change up the different areas that I work out, right? But I am becoming like crazy, like muscular in my shoulders and my arms. And now when I work out, I can see the veins in my muscles, and I'm just
love it.
It's so cool. So cool. And that's what do you guys, I mean, any of you women out there who ask me this question, do you look at me and think, "Oh, she looks like a man now"? Or, like, let's throw that out the window and leave it.
The truth is this: people say things that people don't, a lot of times people don't realize why they say things. They don't realize even why they say it. Yeah. Because I hear it all. I hear all the time what people don't want. What do you want? People love to tell you what they don't want. Well, I don't want a guy like this. I don't want that. I don't want I don't want this. I don't want that. Yeah. Like, first of all, it's easy to get muscular. That's number one. That is the biggest falsehood ever. As if you're going to live, if you already have the mentality that you don't want to do this, if you do it, where do you think you're going to all of a sudden become Miss America? Like you don't even want to go. Miss America's far from off your radar. Matter of fact, I'll charge you double to make you not look like Miss America. How about that? like people actually think it's easy to get on muscle just by lifting weights. And I'm like, do you realize that 80% of the people in the gym never change at all? They never look any different.
Yeah.
Ever. Like very few people actually change their bodies and look good. Very few. And so to think that just because you lift weights, you're going to all of a sudden turn into something is number one, ridiculous, completely ridiculous. Most people can't even stay disciplined on diet long enough, because if you can't diet, you ain't never going to get muscular. That's number one. If you don't know how to eat, muscularity is out of your world. If you don't have consistency and exercise and training, muscularity is out of your world. If you don't actually know how to lift weights, muscularity is out of your world. So there's so many things that has to come together for you to even begin to look like you work out, let alone be muscular.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that. And I think most of them just don't want to put that effort out. They just don't. When I started lifting weights, I saw guys that were bigger than me, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. And then as I started getting better and watching my body change, I just went there. I never dreamed of competing in bodybuilding. Was not even on my radar. I was a baseball player. I was trying to make it in baseball.
Really?
And as I got older and older and I wasn't making it there, I just liked the gym. And then my body started changing, and I thought that was pretty cool. And older chicks started looking at me. They were like, I was like 25. They were like 30. They were old chicks.
Old.
They were older. Now my kids are older than that. But so most people who end up, having these physiques kind of stumbled across it. A lot of us did. A lot of us came from other sports, like Ronnie Coleman. He came from football, and Sean Ray came from football, and Phil Heath was in basketball. I mean, most of us just came from somewhere else and kind of so it was really the competition and the work and the discipline. Like that's what we kind of fell in love with, because you need all of those.
Yeah.
You need all of those to be successful in bodybuilding. But as far as what women have to stop doing is stop holding yourself back from being great in fear of something that probably ain't going to happen. You have total control over how muscular you get. It ain't like like you wake up one day, damn, too muscular. How'd that happen?
Yeah. So here's this comment that came in. Actually, I think it's funny. So people take things to the extreme. Just because a woman lifts doesn't mean she's going to grow an Adam's apple and chin hairs to look like a man.
Honestly, to me, it's a cop out. It's a cop out.
Yeah.
That's like saying, I don't want to go to work. I don't want to start a job. I might be a billionaire, and God, I don't want to deal with those taxes. Like, no, you are not going to be a billionaire just because you get a job. You are not going to be muscular just because you exercise. Like, you control the whole scenario. I didn't become a pro bodybuilder by accident. I worked my tail off and kept trying and learning and educating and meeting people. And like, to get where I got, I had to go pursue it. Okay. For you to be muscular, you have to pursue it.
Yeah.
You have to actually pursue it. And when you work out, I don't care whether you're trying to be Miss America or Miss Neighborhood or just the best looking person in your house. It takes the same knowledge and the same effort. You just don't take it as far.
Yeah.
So like for what you're trying to do, you have to do exactly what I did. You still got to eat right. You got to eat enough protein. You got to, work your butt off, but you're just not going to get bigger. The way you eat is going to keep your size a certain place, because to get bigger, you have to actually eat more food, a lot more food. You don't get big because you lift weights. It's another crazy thing that people actually think, like lifting weights doesn't make you big. I had a person said to me, well, lifting heavy makes you big, right? I'm like, no. And they're like, well, you lift heavy. And I'm like, now? I couldn't do this before.
Yeah, that was a mind-blowing thing for me, though, actually, because that's completely different than anything I learned growing up, right? Like, you think, like, when I was playing sports in high school, I would do weight training for a bunch of my sports, and I I mean, I would go to do my weightlifting and I would think, oh, I'm going to get big, right? Because that's what our coaches always told us, you know, you're going to work out and get bigger muscles, you know? So that's been like put into my mind. So this whole training, the way that I do things with you is completely different, and understanding that makes way more sense if you really think about it.
It's really sad how many coaches have no clue of what they're talking about, and a lot of doctors have
Yeah.
no clue what they're talking. One of my friends is a doctor. When I first moved to Palm Desert, and I was, you know, he would do my care, or when I would get ready for a contest, if I would get a cold or something, and because I would get sinus infections twice a year out there because they scalp the grass in the desert, and
Mhm.
I have allergies to ragweed, so twice a year I get sinus infections. So I'd go see him, and he put me on a little Z pack or something. And one time I was getting ready, I think it might have been the USA, and I was in shape. Okay, I'm like, you know, jawline. I'm like, I'm socked up. I'm getting really close to getting on stage. And I go to see him, you know, and he's doing his, you know, he's checking me out, and he just stops and goes, "How in the world do y'all do this?" Like, it's just like, because he's been, you know, I've been working out my whole life. I never look like.
Yeah.
And I kind of start talking to him about diet, and because he's a doctor, he can understand when I go, well, you know how carbs work, you know how insulin works, you know how sugar works. And he's like, oh, and I'm like, and there's a recovery, so just all I gotta do is tell him, and it'll just click for him. The average person, it won't just click because they don't understand
Yeah.
biology. But yeah, he worked out his whole life, and he was just dumbfounded. Like his mouth was like, how in the world do you look like that? Like, and I'm like, dude, it
Yes.
takes years, and it takes a lot of education, a lot of talking to people.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna read none of this in a book. That's
Yeah.
the thing. That's why the reason a lot of you guys who train with people like myself who do it, who've done it and lived it, is because you're never gonna read the stuff we teach y'all. You're
Yeah.
never gonna read it. It's stuff that you learn from people who've done it. Like I learned from Arnold Schwarzenegger, Ronnie Coleman, like people who have been there before me. I had to go to them. Like, dude, this ain't in no book. And they're like, nah. And they teach you about, you know, insulin and carbs and how it affects you, and
Yeah.
rest and recuperation and stimulation and balance and you know, ancillary muscles and primary movement. Like there's so much to this. That's
Yeah.
why
And
people tell me how they think like all I got to do is go to the gym and exercise, and I'm all of a
yeah.
sudden go boop, 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 boop. It just doesn't work that way. It doesn't work
I
that
see
way.
this one guy at my gym all the time, and he has looked the same the whole time we've been there. And he
No
does
time.
hard workouts, but I can tell just by what he's doing is he does a good workout. He just probably doesn't have his nutrition down.
He has no clue about nutrition.
Yeah.
None. None. Because you don't change the way you look without nutrition. There is no training regime. There's no training program on the planet Earth that can outdo the wrong diet.
Yeah.
Nothing.
And talking about going back to this, like doctors not really knowing, I have a family member who's gone to a few different doctors lately, and they've told her that she ruined her metabolism and there's nothing she can do. She's not going to be able to lose any weight. So, what do you say
That's
to
pretty that's
somebody who
pretty
gets
daunting to hear.
yeah. But I mean, do you think that's something that those doctors just don't really know?
Well, I
Because
don't know
one of
why
them was
they.
a nutrition.
I would need more information. Like, how did she ruin it? What do they mean by that? What did she do
I
to ruin
think
it?
what she was saying is they were saying that because she had been on such low calorie diets for so long throughout her life that it kind of messed everything up with her metabolism. And
Oh no, that's not true. Then, if that's what they said, that's not true. Because I've had tons of clients like that, and I fix them within
yeah,
weeks.
yeah,
Within weeks, because what happens is this: when you stop eating, which people do, they stop eating when they want to lose weight, and what happens is you don't get me wrong. If you starve yourself, of course, eventually you lose weight, right? But then you lose your hair and your teeth and everything along with it. But a
yeah,
person who just slows up eating, eats once a day, eats twice, you know, those people, they may lose weight initially, then they'll stop. And the reason they keep dropping calories is because their weight loss stops. And what happens then is your body has to slow down because you're not eating.
yeah,
You're not eating. So the body's like, dude, if this is all you're going to eat, we need to disperse this out throughout the day. your one little meal. We have to slowly release this so you can make it through, because your body's trying to save you from killing yourself. Your body's trying to save you, and it's going to do whatever it needs to do to save you. Even if it's bad, it's going to do it. That's the one thing. Like, there's a book I have called You Are the Placebo, and I listened to it when I was going through my issues. And after a while, I got pissed at the book because it wasn't really true what they were saying. It's like, oh, your body will heal itself. Yeah, but it doesn't heal itself like it's supposed to. Yeah, a bone will just go, okay, well, just make more bone, but that bone causes spurs, and those spurs tear up tendons.
Yeah.
Right. If you don't fix a broken bone, it's going to heal broken. It's going to heal like that. So they act like it's going to go like Men in Black. Like Men in Black, you shoot my head off.
Yeah. I mean, what happens when you like break a bone right in half, right? Like it might be turned or it might be off to the side.
That's why they have to set it. They have to set it so it heals correctly.
Yeah.
So as far as I like I said, I'm training people right now that I fix that. The reason that they're wrong is this: when a person does that, yes, it slows the metabolism down. The metabolism is weird. Okay, when you eat too many carbs, your metabolism slows down. If you eat too little, your metabolism slows down. Like, there's a lot of things that slow the metabolism down. Losing muscle mass is the number one thing. That's why I can, at 50, almost 7 years old, I can still have a low body fat, because I keep my muscle, because my hormones aren't good. I'm telling you, not good, but they're nothing like they used to be.
Yeah.
I don't like hormones. My testosterone levels are low. I got to take supplements for that. I got to go to the doctor, get my test checked. All that's wacky. But the one thing that I have constant, I have muscle working for me, because muscle's live tissue. It's burning calories all the time. So I can maintain. So my eating is different because I don't burn the same. So I don't eat as much, but I still eat consistently. I still, instead of doing 8 ounces of chicken, I do 6. Instead of doing, maybe a full cup, I'll do a half, whatever. But I adjust my calories as I get older, because I don't burn like I used to, and I don't have the activity I used to have.
Yeah.
I was playing golf and I was lifting. I was doing so many different. I ain't doing that no more. So I have to adjust my eating to my lifestyle, which a lot of people do not do. They keep eating like they're doing a lot when they're not doing a lot.
Yeah, I think that's huge. And I think that people don't realize that, because they are just following a fad diet or something that new that came out, right? Or just the fact that they don't understand why they're doing what they're doing, right?
It could be a diet. Like my friend, when she was like, I'm like, yeah, but you don't even know why that diet was working for you. You just know it worked.
Yeah.
So as soon as it stopped working, you don't know what to do, because you don't even know why it's working at all. And that's another thing that a lot of people, like I said, you're not gonna read that in a book. Somebody has to actually teach you how to read your own body. Like, I love when I talk to people and they go, you know what? I listen to my body.
Uh-oh, what's coming?
I listen to my body and I give my body what it's asking for. And right now it's asking for hot Cheetos. Oh my God, some of the stuff I hear, man.
Man, if I listen to what my body wanted all the time, like, my body walks towards the cheesecake. I have to mentally like turn myself around.
I'd have a freezer full of Sara Lee frozen cheesecake. I love that stuff. People are like, oh, you like frozen cheesecake? Yeah, I like frozen cheesecake. How? I don't know. I just like it.
My body just takes me to the freezer every day.
You act like you like stuff because you need to like it. Like, I know I don't really like this, but I'm gonna make myself like it. I don't know. I just like it. When that enters this mouth goes yummy.
Totally. You know what I do is I actually get in this war with myself. Is I'll go and have something sweet, because I love sweet and savory. Like, I am just one that I love food, all of it, right? And so I'll have something sweet, and then all of a sudden I'm like, it's a little too sweet in my mouth, so my palate needs something savory, right? So I'll go get the savory, and then I'm like, I went a little too far on the savory. I got to go back to the sweet. So then it's like this battle between sweet and savory, and I'm like caught up in it, and I'm like making myself crazy because I don't want to be eating any of it, but my body knows what it wants. It wants a little bit of sweet.
I'm listening to my body. My body, like, your body's speaking Russian and you don't speak Russian.
So true. We could listen to what our body was telling us. How many better choices would we make in our
Oh my God.
world,
If we could listen to our bodies, we wouldn't be dating half the people we date. My body's telling me to get away from you. Yeah, I listen to my body. First of all, most people have no idea what their body is saying. They don't understand, like the doctors, for the doctors, because a lot of doctors are medical doctors. They deal with medicine. They deal with normal scenarios.
Yeah.
They deal with normal scenarios. So when something weird comes at them, it's not like they study that. They don't study fitness nutrition. And matter of fact, a lot of them don't even study nutrition at all. Okay. They
Yeah.
just there's just a block in medical school where they talk about some of this stuff. So
Mhm.
until you actually do it with a lot of people, you
Yes,
really
that's
can't.
the key.
You gotta do it with a lot of people. Like I've done so many people that I've learned, maybe because you make for me, it was for people like myself who've competed, you're your own experiment. You're your own experiment. So you know exactly. That's why when I'm telling you, I know what you're gonna feel. I'm gonna give you this, but this is how you're gonna feel. You're gonna
Mhm.
let me know when you get this. I give you a whole list of things to look. How do I know all that? It's not in a book, right? It's because those are the things that I felt, and I realized those are signs that I had a guy who wasn't losing weight, and they were working out forever. This group of guys. So I started training all three of them together a couple times a week for like a few months. I think about 3 months. And one guy was about 60, didn't really need to lose weight, just need to get leaner. So I said, okay, you're the hardest one. He's like, wow. I'm like, because I got to keep you the same weight, but put muscle on you and take fat off at the same time. That's harder than just losing weight. People don't realize that. Losing weight is just changing food and your weight drops. We couldn't lose weight. But I know as I train you, your metabolism is going to go up and you will lose weight. So I got to keep changing your diet to keep the weight on. The guy, and then one guy, he was 60, the other one was 35, and the other guy was 57. The 57-year-old body wasn't responding. The other two, everything was working great. They were all getting stronger. They all felt great, but the weight wasn't dropping off the 57-year-old. With the 36-year-old, he lost 13 pounds in 3 workouts.
Wow.
Like 4 workouts, it was 13 pounds gone, right?
Wow.
So the other guy just lost 5, and then he stopped, and he wouldn't move for weeks. And I kept telling him, the scale's not the only sign that the diet's working. Most people, that's all they go by is a scale. And I'm like, no, if you're hot, if you're peeing more, if your energy is up, energy is down, there's a lot of other signs. I said, so I need you to look at inches. I said, there's a lot of other signs. So he would, he wanted to see the scale move. And I said, the scale will move, but I can't, as long as the other signs are happening, the scale will finally move. I don't know when the scale's going to move for you, but don't worry about that. Just do what I say. Just keep doing the program. Let the program work. So he would tell me, the next week, I'm still the same. He goes, but my inches are going down. I'm still the same, but I'm peeing a lot. I'm still the same, but I'm hot at night. Like all the other signs.
Yeah.
And I go, hang in there. And I got to give him credit. He hung in there. You could tell he was getting frustrated. Still 5 pounds.
It's so true though. Honestly, like that is like one of the first things that I discuss with people when they talk to me about my journey is they're like, okay, so do you keep looking at the scale? And I'm like, I do look at the scale, but I don't look at it because I'm wanting to lose weight and I'm trying to use it for that purpose, right? Like I'm just kind of trying to make sure that as I'm doing everything that I'm doing, that it's working for me. And that's something.
And what she means by that is the scale moving is not an indication of anything but weight loss. It's not an indication of fat loss. It could be muscle loss too. So if you're losing weight and getting weaker, you're losing muscle, which means your metabolism is getting actually slower. So that's why the diet's so important. So finally, like week 5 or 6, it was almost like like a plug in a drain just came out. He lost 20 pounds. It was 20 pounds, and he was just like out of nowhere. And I told him, I was like, dude, I don't know what your body's gonna do. I just know what we need to do. I don't know what your body's gonna do, but I know what we need to do. And I go off of what your body's doing. And this is why most people who don't have trainers struggle, because without somebody who actually knows this, number one, you waste years and you'll never figure it out on your own. Never. You will not figure it out on your own.
Yeah.
And number 2, you waste years. And I always tell people, they'll be like, well, wow, I'm like, yeah, but I'm taking the guesswork out. Everything you're trying to get done is going to get done right now, right here, way quicker. Like, look at how quick you saw results in a week. You saw, wow, this is
Yeah,
different already. You've been working out forever and wasn't seeing those kind of results.
exactly.
So that's what people don't understand. When you got the right trainer, every trainer can't do this either. Just like every doctor's not a good doctor, every postman ain't a good postman, every trainer's not a good trainer. So if you've had a trainer and that trainer's let you down, don't think that no trainer is good. Trainers don't work for me. No,
Yeah.
there's a level of education for all of us. Everything has different levels to it. And understand, like the doctors, how could a doctor not know that you can fix somebody's metabolism just by working out? So when I take women, when they do that, I had a girl come to me. She wasn't losing weight. I think she was in the 30s at the time, late 30s. And I said, well, I bet you're not losing, but you're not gaining. You're just stuck. And she was like, yeah. And she's like, how'd you know? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm Nostradamus. No. I have a crystal ball. I'm like, because you ain't the only one. So, like, people actually think like, I'm like, we're so smart. No, I've just seen it 1,000 times. I ain't that smart. So I go, well, I can't, have people say, you eat multiple meals. That's how you lose weight. I'm like, what if you're not burning any calories eating once? How the hell are you going to eat 4 more times?
Right.
So that's another big mistake that people make, is they actually think that if you multiple meals just makes you lose. If it was that easy, no one would be overweight, right? Come on. And multiple meals of what? Lasagna? Like what is your multiple meals? So, and you have to be hungry when you eat. So if you don't have an appetite, when are you going to eat?
Yeah.
You're not hungry. You're only supposed to eat when you're hungry. So what I do normally is, if a person has one big, huge meal once a day, actually it doesn't even matter. Even if they're doing a small meal, I have to first create an environment that the body needs more food. And you do that with exercise. So what I did with this one girl, I've done it with everybody, but I'll just talk about her. I said, okay, I said, we got to speed your metabolism up so that you want that meal as soon as you wake up, as opposed to because she was eating it around noon. And I said, so you're not hungry till then? She goes, right. I go, I'll say, I need you.
Was this me?
Huh?
Was this me? Sounds
No, I'm not
very
talking about it. You did. We did have that same thing. That's why I said I do it all the time. I can't even. I'm doing with so many people. I can't even remember who. I just happen to. I'm just recalling her right now. But you were a little different case because you worked out, where this girl wasn't even working out at all. It was just
okay.
never had any workouts. That's why it makes more sense talking about someone like her, because a lot of people here are going to be people like her. So I said, we have to stimulate a metabolism. We have to actually get the body to want to eat. And we do that with working out. So I said, let's just start working out. And in a minute, the day you wake up hungry, eat that oatmeal in the morning. And then text me when you're hungry again, and I'll tell you what to eat. So she ate the oatmeal in the morning. She texted me, I'm hungry. I'm like, ding, 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 ding. And that was only about 3-4 days. It wasn't that many days. So by the 3rd day, she needed the food.
Yeah.
And then I said, okay, text me when you're hungry again. Because I wanted to keep track of the hours. Because I want to shrink the hours. I want you hungrier less. First, I'm hungry every 6 hours. Then I want you hungry every 3. I want you hungry every 2 hours. That's that. Then you have a metabolism and you're burning food and you're losing weight. So I had to get her there. I had to get her to multiple meals, but the body has to be asking for those meals.
Yeah.
So by about 2 weeks, we were up to 4 meals a day, and she was losing weight and everything was fine. So that's what the doctors that told her. That's why it's wrong. It's not true. It's not true at all. If you created the problem, why can't you reverse it?
That was the craziest thing when she told me that. I was just blown away that a doctor would even tell
you didn't know the answer, but you knew that was not a good one.
Yeah, I was like, there's no way. Like, if people can still starve to death, then there's a way to.
And this is why you hear the hysteria with weight loss with a lot of people, is because they're told basically you're screwed. That's what they're told. He basically told her you're screwed.
Yeah.
Like, where do you go from there? You know where you go from there? To get a tube, to get the tube or the sleeve.
Yeah.
Because they love promoting that. They don't like promoting mental toughness. And because when you work out, somebody asked me just last night, I said the difference between getting a surgery done and working it off is you don't get mentally tough with the surgery, because your problem isn't food. Your problem is your abuse of food. It's not food. It's how you're using food. You're using it to soothe. You're using it for joy. You're using it the wrong way.
Yeah.
So if you do my surgery, I haven't changed my relationship with food. That's why most people that do the surgery do what? Put the weight back on.
Mm-hmm.
So they go, oh, they're going to shrink my stomach down to a PB, to a BB. And I'm like, you are going to hate it. You are going to hate it because you still see food the same way. You just can't get it in now. And so you don't really
be sick and
you're constantly sick, throwing up, pure. Oh, like you pretty much, if you work it off and give it time, you don't have to ever give up anything. Once you get like I told you, once you're where you want to be, you can dabble. You can, you can dabble, and you have the discipline to control your dabble.
Yeah.
When you don't, and you build the discipline through the training. When I'm asking you to do 5 and you don't think you can and you do it. When I'm saying, hey, you can, like the other day, Bailey did, because Bailey's doing it. I got 2 doing shows in December, and you got to do one. But Bailey, Bailey's great. She has way too many questions, drive me freaking crazy. Like, Bailey, stop. I don't have those answers. Like, we got to get there. Like, what happens at 6 weeks? What happens at 4 weeks? I don't know.
Depends on where you're at that point.
In the perfect world, I can tell you that, but this ain't a perfect world.
That's what I love about your programs, though, is that you really cater them to what our bodies need. And that's the biggest thing behind all of this that I'm learning is how much different each body needs something different.
Some people lean out quick. Some people take slow. Some people do best off of chicken. Some do best off of this. Some people do best off turkey. Like, everybody's different. So we just play and experiment and try it. But the key is consistency. Like, if you're not doing what I'm asking, I can't make changes because you're already making them.
Yeah.
But so Bailey's funny like that. She's always, and I told her, we were talking yesterday, and I said, when I'm asking you to do something that you don't even think you can do, and then you do it, and you do that over and over and over again in the gym, because it did it for me. You start to use that same mentality outside the gym.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, you do it with your relationships. You start doing it with food. I tell people, if you can't stick to a workout program, you can't possibly diet. Dieting is way too hard. Working out's easy compared to dieting. Okay, way easier. So if you can't, once you start to look in the mirror and, give me 5 push-ups. My arm, I can't do. I know you can do it, because I never ask people to do something they can't do. I ask them to do stuff they think they can't do, but I never ask them to do something they can't do. So I'm always looking for an area to challenge them, to show them what I see that they don't see in themselves.
Yeah.
So when they start to do that, what is that going to do? You're going to start going, well, shit, I could say no. And she went through this whole journey. It's kind of cool. We need to have her on here, actually. It's a little hard for her with her job, but what she's just her metamorphosis up here has been, I haven't even told her that. I'm talking about her now, and I really haven't told her now, because I'm thinking about it now as we're talking, to how she used to talk and how she's talking now is freaking beautiful. Like, she's ex-Navy, right? She wants to drink with her buddies, and what I'm saying? Like, well, I can't drink beer already. Well, what can I drink? And I'm giving her options, and then she's like, I'm trying to figure out. Like, now the thought of drinking freaking repulses her.
Yeah. She's
like, I don't want to drink. I don't want to eat that stuff. She goes, and my friends get on my nerves because they keep pushing it on me, and she's getting frustrated. And this happens a lot of y'all, your friends. She was like, why do they do that? I go, well, when you're getting fat, they never tell you, but when you're losing weight, they got something to say.
Yeah.
This is something that a lot of men don't tend to do this. Men tend to look at a dude and go, damn, dude, I need to get in the gym like you.
Yeah. So true.
Guys just give it up. Damn, dog, you looking good, man. Oh, you're making me feel
Oh,
bad.
true. I want to change the culture for women so badly because
God,
how
Idris, you're
much
making me.
better would we be if we could support each other? Come on.
Guys will be like, God, Idris, man, why you walking in, man? You making me look bad. I'm like, you look like that when I got here. Sorry. Oh, that ain't right. I go, but it ain't wrong either. But women, I don't get it, man. Like, I don't know, like, why they don't support each other when they're trying to do these things. I don't understand it. I'm like, why are y'all doing that? And I know why. I know why. It's just not okay. And it's because you're reminding them of what they should be doing. And they're feeling a certain way because you're doing it.
Yeah.
And that's why, because think this, I trust me, I've like busted my freaking little brain cells trying to figure out why anyone that you call a friend is cutting alcohol out of their life, which I think is a good thing.
Right.
Cutting shitty foods out of their life, losing weight, feeling amazing about themselves, and you're going to throw water on that fire by saying something like, what are you doing that for? Or like older people will say, what are you trying to be young again? Like, what do you, I don't, I'm like, why would anyone say that? And I'm like,
why wouldn't you want to?
You should be like this. Good for you, man. High five, man. Blah, blah. And so when women don't do that, I'm like, okay, why not? And I'm talking about a lot of women. I've been doing this a long freaking time. And I'm always telling them this is going to happen. And then it happens. And they go, dude, you were right. And I'm like, I know. and I go, but the thing is this. If you don't really want the best, Jordan Peterson says this in his book, watch who you share good news with and watch who you share bad news with. Mm-hmm. Only share good news with people who are legitimately happy for you.
Yeah.
And only share bad news with people who are legitimately supportive of you. Not somebody that as soon as you tell them you've got something bad, they double, well, I lost my mother. You lost your dog. I lost my uncle. Like, why are you trying to one-up me here? I'm looking to tell you, just share something.
I hate that. That is one of my biggest pet peeves in a conversation. It's like, you don't need to one-up me. I'm just expressing the way that I feel. We actually had a question come in.
Yeah, go ahead and read that out.
Okay. Hey there, Sri and Idris. I've learned so much from you, and everything I've put into play has really worked and been noticeable. I do have a question. What is something good to maybe consume pre-workout to boost my energy?
It depends on the workout and depends on when. A protein shake can do the trick. For some people, I need carbs personally because of the type of workout that I'm doing. I'll use carbs. Sometimes if it's like an arm workout, I don't need carbs. And if you do carbs, you have to do it an hour before, 45 minutes, so it has time to digest and get into your system. The glycogen, it's glycogen stores that give you energy. Some people use caffeine. Some people use all those energy drinks and those pre-workout drinks, which kind of upset a lot of people's stomach, and they keep doing it for some reason.
Yeah, it actually, for me, because I'm very sensitive to caffeine and things like that, it actually makes me like too wired. Like I'll take it, and even if like a half a serving, I'm just like jittery. Like
and then you're up, and then it's hard to go to sleep at night. So everybody's different, but you need glycogen in your muscles to get a pump. Without glycogen, you won't get a pump. And when you compete, you know that, because as your body fat gets lower, that's how you get lean, by getting glycogen out. When your glycogen is really low and we're close to getting on stage, weeks from the show, you have zero energy. You don't last at all. Workouts are shorter, quicker. Get out the gym, get some protein in, get a shake in, because you don't have anything in there. Yeah. And so your workouts you don't get pumped. You'll do a whole set, you do a whole workout and you're tired, but you don't feel that pump that you get when you have the glycogen. So it depends on what type of what you're doing your workouts for, if you're trying to lean out or whatever. But a protein shake is always a great way to do it. And like yesterday, I had Jennifer, who's 52, and she's getting ready to do a contest too. So Bailey's 27 and she's 52. I started increasing her workouts, and she was running through her food and she was dying. And I changed her diet and gave her way more food. And I said, drink a protein shake while you work out. And that gives you energy through the entire workout, because you're constantly replenishing your energy stores, even though it's protein, and protein doesn't last as long as a carb does. But if you're trying to lean out, you don't really want the carb. You rather have just something. So you can do that, and maybe put some peanut butter in it if you make your own. Peanut butter is a nice fat, and fat also is a good way of giving you energy without water retention. Carbs gives you energy, but it also makes you retain water. Fats give you energy, but you don't retain water. So that's what we do also when we're competing. We fat load to get energy. So we'll put steak in or something with more fat than chicken. Chicken is usually what people use because it has a good blend of just protein and some fat, where turkey is leaner. Turkey breast, that's why turkey gets drier easier, because it's leaner. And then red meat, there's more calories because of the fat, but there's more calories. So red meat will tend to help you lean out without weight loss, like what I'm trying to do now. I don't want my weight to drop because I like to wear all my clothes are pretty expensive and they all fit, and I don't want to have to go down.
That's a nice problem to have, right?
Yeah, well, you got all these jeans and they all cost $200. You're like, okay, I'm not getting a whole bunch of jeans. So what I want to do is keep my weight the same, but I want to lean out, which takes longer, but that's okay. So I do a little more red meat the last month or so, and I'm gonna keep that up so my weight doesn't drop as I lean out.
Yeah.
So there's just a few methods that, for this, but generally speaking, if you want to have energy throughout your workout, drink your protein shake about 30 minutes before, or drink it while you work out. But don't go 2 hours and then think you're going to work out and have energy. It's not going to work.
Yeah, I've also seen people
after 2 hours after you eat. 2 hours after you eat.
Yeah, so I've seen people do this. I haven't done it at the gym because I usually have enough before I go, but I've seen people bring their protein powder with them in the little shake bottles, and they'll just make one there when they need the energy, and then they'll keep going. So, I mean, there's options. It's just
a lot of that has to do with too is you want to get protein back in your body within 30 minutes of your workout. So a lot of it has to do with that. They bring it in, make the shake, because they probably know on the way home it's going to be longer than it needs. And that's being really meticulous. You don't have to do that. I think that's more when you're like trying to do something specific with your body, or you're trying to compete or something. I try to make this more for regular people. Get in the greatest shape you can, but around a regular, you got kids, you got barbecues. That's why I say, if you do what you're supposed to do 85% of the time, you can go off the map a little bit on 15 and have those foods. Once you're in shape, the biggest thing is if you're trying to get in shape, you have to have a metabolism. And the only way to have that is once you get over 30, 40 years old, is having muscle. Muscle or drugs, right?
Yeah.
Speed, amphetamines, phentermine, ephedrine. That's why all those things are so big in the weight loss community. It's because they speed you up. They make the body hot, makes you pee more, which is weight loss. So that's why those things but you can do it, without all of those additives by eating low glycemic carbs like yams and oatmeal for your carb source, and lifting weights. Cardio doesn't do this. Cardio actually eats up muscle. Yoga doesn't, like, a lot of people don't understand that you don't build muscle eating up muscle. You have to spare the muscle, and resistance training is really the only way. You can get some calisthenic with it, but pretty soon, what are you gonna do? 1,000 push-ups? I mean, how many push-ups can you do? But in the gym, you can, if you're weak and you can't do a push-up, you can do 20, 30 pounds and at least start the process. You may not be able to lift half of your body, but you can lift 30 pounds.
Yeah.
Right. So calisthenics you got to be in shape to do calisthenics. Like, a lot of people go, I don't want to go to the gym. I'm like, you too out of shape to do calisthenics. You can't do pull-ups, push-ups, jumping jacks. You can't do any of that stuff. So how do you start? You start on machines, which you can do 20 pounds.
Yeah. And that's the crazy thing for me, honestly. Like, I have actually seen and felt like it's hard to explain, but I know that my metabolism is working different for me now, just by the muscle that I built and eating the foods that the nutritional program that you gave me. I mean, I can see a huge difference in that, and just the way that you helped me reset my body, because I was putting my body
with your shoulders. You're detailing your shoulders are better than when we first started.
I know. I'm feeling pretty good about my upper body there. Yeah. I told my daughter, we were at the gym, and I'm like, you see that? You see those veins? Like, I've never been able to see that.
That's what Bailey said that last night. She was like, oh, I gotta show you a picture. There's a vein in my back. One vein.
It's so crazy. I didn't think I would ever like that. Like, that was one of the things in my head. I'm like, I do not want to build muscle because I don't want to see those veins, right? But now that I'm seeing, I'm like, yeah, that's
Why do y'all think so many women are falling in love with weights? Because they've never realized how cool it is to see your muscle. Like none of them ever, it
Beautiful.
never dawned because they associate it with bodybuilders who get really big. I'm
Mhm.
like, there is a whole lot. Most of y'all are going to be nowhere near.
They don't though. That's the crazy thing. A lot of women think that they're gonna end up being bodybuilders if they start
A lot
lifting
of
weights.
men do too. A lot of men do too. They actually think that. I'm like this. First of all, a lot of people have never stood next to one. I was one of those people. The first time I stood next to a pro bodybuilder, I was like, dude, you got a long way to go.
So true.
I was so not what I thought I would look. I took a picture and went home and got it developed. This is back before digital. And I looked at that picture and I was like, dude, you just look fat. That's it. You're just fat. I lost 20 pounds and started over. Scrap that. And I started over. So I know what all of you think because I thought the same stuff. Like I think people don't understand. People who get where I've gotten,
Mhm.
we all went through the same journey of not knowing and making mistakes and doing it wrong. And we all did it. Like I know that's why I know every emotion that you have. When you finally see a muscle, I remember what my first time, like, oh, that's cool. I remember all of it. So that's why my job is to get that highlight quicker for you guys.
Yeah.
My job is to let me show somebody success early so they get excited. And women, one thing that women love, build self-esteem, like it's getting stronger. Y'all love getting stronger. Y'all love picking up stuff that you never could pick up before.
Yeah.
Y'all love not having to ask your husband to move something.
Right.
Y'all love it, man. I love it. There's one guy, we got to go here in a second, but I trained a guy named Mickey Thomas. He's the lead singer for Jefferson Starship.
Okay.
And now he just goes by Starship, and he still travels and does his thing. But his wife Rachel, and Rachel was blonde, little tiny little blondie, maybe 102 pounds or something, very tiny, very very tiny, right?
Yeah.
So we're training, and Mickey ain't that big either, okay? But but she's really tiny, And we're training for a while, and then one day holidays will come in, and she calls me screaming on the phone, like excited. She's like, "It's oh my God." I'm like, "What?" This is a grown ass woman, okay, 50 years old. I got the Christmas tree down all by myself.
Oh.
And I laugh because a lot of clients don't realize, like a lot of people don't realize, this is when I first started understanding people better. We're all little kids with time behind us.
Yeah.
Because I've seen too many people jump off the floor and scream like little kids when they can do 10 push-ups and never could do any push-ups.
Wow. Yeah.
Like even Jennifer today texted me, I did 3 pull-ups. I'm gonna get to 10. I'm gonna get. And she did it at the end of a back workout. I forgot to text her back and go, you do realize that you can do more than 3 because we just finished doing back and you're tired and you did 3.
Yeah.
If you would have done that first, you'd have probably done more. But like she can't wait to do 10. Like when I hear grown people act like little 5-year-olds that just learn how to color or something.
Yeah.
And that's the joy that I see. And that's kind of why I still do this and I love doing it. It's because I like to see people do things that they never thought was possible. And when they do that, it transfers into their relationships, it transfers into their jobs, it transfers into their person. They become a person that doesn't believe anything's out of their reach.
I love that. That is amazing. I love that.
Yeah, that's the best part about it is watching that. I've had 4 women leave abusive relationships, building their self-esteem. Plus, we have talks like this about real stuff. And I don't ever. One thing I don't ever do is I never pick sides. I just talk about behavior.
Yeah.
I don't like that behavior. I don't know this dude, but what you're telling me, I ain't down with that behavior. So I try to separate because some people get really protected even though the person's abusive.
Yeah.
So I make sure I don't talk about the person. I talk about the behavior.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think as far as women out there and your metabolism slowing down and you don't know what to do about it, you got to you got to lift them weights. Like I said, just hit me up, call me, text me, message me. We can have a talk. I can show you how to get started. We could do a program. I got to tell people, I want you to learn enough where you can go on and do this for the rest of your life and be in shape. Like for you at 39, it's the perfect time. You'll be 40 soon. You're not going to see that decline like a lot of people do. You're not going to have it. You're not going to have it. And that's, people don't understand how empowering that is. It's really, you really feel empowered when you have total control over your weight, your eating, your drinking. That's a control that most people don't have. And,
Yeah.
and to be honest with you, just a little side note, that's one of the reasons I did it. Because I was like, I want to do something most people can't do. And that's
Yeah.
what got me into it.
Yeah, that's me for this last year. It's because I knew things were going to change in my body once I hit 40, and this was always a goal for me. And the crazy thing is you guys, it is amazing. Working with Coach Idris has been so amazing for me. Learning all of this and being on this journey. You guys need to reach out to him and figure out a program for yourself, because it is specific for everybody's body types. And I just have to say, Coach Idris, it has been a pleasure being able to work with you, and just all the information and learning so I can do this for the rest of my life. And that's the most amazing feeling, is knowing that this is something that I can do for the rest of my life. And I'm going to be 90 and I'm going to be like sporting my six pack. And
yeah. Like, people look at Stallone, 76. He's been doing it for, 50, most of his life. At least 56 years. Yeah. And you ask him, is he mad? Are you upset that no, I've never seen a person in shape mad about it.
Yeah. Right. But I love this. This was such a great topic. I think there's so many out there that needed to hear this. So I really appreciate your time. So thank you so much.
Guys, always send your questions. I'll answer them the best I can. If I don't have an answer to something, I ain't gonna make one up. I'll make sure I get a good answer for you. Everything I say to you, feel free to Google. I don't make nothing up. Everything I say is from actual experience. Well, because a lot of people don't understand. Like, I'll say stuff and they'll think it's my opinion. I'm like, no, this ain't my opinion. Yeah. Like, everything I say because it's actually happened. Even with the relationship stuff I talk about, you notice that I don't ever make nothing up. I'm like, no, this has happened. And this may not be your situation, but this is a situation that's happened.
Yeah.
So I don't like people who say things like this. There's a lot of commercials now where, cardio doesn't do this. No, you got to take this pill. Trying to push pills. I'm not into pills. Pills don't build the mind. Don't make you mentally tougher. It doesn't make you stronger. It doesn't build self-esteem. Losing weight doesn't build self-esteem. Otherwise, nobody would put it back on.
Yeah.
Just because you lose weight doesn't mean you feel better about yourself. Doesn't stop you from. An alcoholic doesn't stop drinking because you make him realize he's an alcoholic. He stops drinking because that whatever's making him drink is going away. Yeah. The reason for drinking. So the reason for eating has to go away because you're soothing your pain with food.
Yeah.
And something has to change. You have to find another way to soothe, or and both, honestly, get rid of whatever it is that's making you eat.
Yeah.
That person or that scenario or that job or that. Because that's what's making you soothe with food.
Environment and people are huge.
Environment, people change the way you eat. Carbs are like, nobody eats a bunch of food because it's so great. They eat a bunch of food because it's giving them a feeling.
Yeah.
It's always the feeling, man. It's always the feeling. It's not the food. It's the way the food makes you feel.
Yep. 100%. No, I love that. Thank you so much, Coach Idris. And I am excited for next week. I think we're going to have somebody, at least one guest actually on next week, so that we can have a conversation with someone else and see what their journey is bringing to them and see what questions they have. So I'm excited.
I get Bailey. Bailey's crazy. She got this great energy, man.
I would love that. I would love to talk to her, especially as you talk about her all the time.
Yeah, she's funny. She gets all, she's funny. She's funny.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Coach Idris. You have an amazing weekend.
See you later.
Okay, you guys. I really believe if you want to start your journey and you're finding it really hard for you to get started or find something that works for you, reach out to Coach Idris. He's amazing. He can put a program to exactly what you need. And you guys, the journey to fitness helps in so many other aspects of your life. And that's why I chose to start with this, because I knew if I could do this for myself and for my family, that it was something that I could help others see in themselves and have it go through every aspect of my life, whether it's my career, my relationships. It all takes the same type of mindset. And so I love you guys. Hopefully this was good for you guys. Thank you for the comments and questions. That was amazing. And I hope to hear from you guys next week when we do Fitness Friday once again. Love you guys.